And greetings to you. Today we're in Salisbury. This is Churchill Gardens, where I used to come and feed the ducks when I was agoraphobic. That's an upbeat start, isn't it? About 15 minutes walk away is Elizabeth Gardens, which was once the scene of a Novichok poisoning. Yep, somebody said something rude about Mr. Putin and the Russians just had to take him down. Elizabeth Gardens is of course named after Queen Elizabeth II, who according to David Icke was a lizard person. I have nothing else to say about that. Just down from Elizabeth Gardens is the Water Meadows, so called because when it rains in the winter, this place fills with water. Water as far as those trees in the background. Today, of course, there's a heat wave. There hasn't been any rain for weeks, and the sheep are here, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And if you turn about face, you'd see this. It's the cathedral. A very distant shot, but we'll get closer to it later on. David Icke had nothing to say about Salisbury Cathedral. It does contain an original copy of the Magna Carta, but it cost about 15 quid to see it and I couldn't be bothered. And to get into Salisbury Cathedral, you need to pass under the North Gate from the 14th century. Now, do you see that ram over on the left-hand side above that shop awning? I didn't. I lived here for 9 years and I never knew that was there until I was editing this video. That's how observant I am. And there's the cathedral, originally built on Old Sarum, which is about 4 miles away. The whole thing was moved in about the 11th century. It's very beautiful inside and out, but like I said, costs a lot of money to go inside. And this is the town centre itself, which of course is full of very old buildings. Salisbury is an ancient city. This is the old marketplace, and again, looks beautiful in the evening. As with most English cities now, the nightlife is pretty much dead, but there is a World Cup on. In fact, this was all recorded the day before the England-Norway match. And yeah, there are a few more people than normal milling around. Still quite dead though. We will get to a football match eventually, but this is the Avon River, which runs through the middle of Salisbury. There are 5 rivers running through Salisbury, and this is the most famous of them all. Now, according to David Icke, Stonehenge is about 10 miles down the road, and according to Mr. Icke, that was constructed by aliens. Now, if an American tourist asks you if that's true, it is obligatory legally to say yes. You have to say yes. But as I said, the old cathedral was built on Old Sarum. Now, not everything David Icke tells you is wrong, because there are aliens around here. In fact, if you stand in just this spot at just the right time, you will be transported through time and space to the nearest non-league football ground. Now, I don't know if that's true, but let's just sit here and wait. Oh, it is true. This is the Raymond McKenhill Stadium, home of Salisbury FC. Used to be the home of Salisbury City FC, but they went bust a couple of years ago through management incompetence, as usual for non-league clubs. They reformed as Salisbury FC in 2015, and they've been plying their trade in the Conference South ever since. Their opponents today are Bristol Rovers, who used to play at a crumbling eyesore called Eastville, which was right next to a gasworks, and the smell of gas would waft through the stadium every so often. That's why Bristol Rovers are now called the Gas. They play in League 2, so there is a 2-division gap today. So as the teams come out, let's go through the lineups. Salisbury have a few new players in their side. Morgan, Roos, McIntyre, Gallagher and Bartolo, and 6 trialists today. They all came onto the pitch, but I don't know any of their names. Bristol Rovers also made quite a few signings in the summer, including Ben Purrington, who Plymouth Argyle fans might remember, Aitchison, quite a few others. Camwell was a new signing, and as you can see, they named 13 substitutes, so they played a second team in the second half. I didn't write down all the substitutions because I couldn't be bothered. So the game starts at about 2 o'clock, and Salisbury are kicking from right to left to right. But it is Bristol Rovers who make much of the early running. And they're 2 divisions higher, so you've got to expect that. Salisbury won their last game 7-0 away at Amesbury. I don't think they're going to win 7-0 today. Here come Bristol Rovers, and they're going to unleash a wild shot. Look at this. Wow. But they were actually pretty good. They're a very clinical passing side. Lots of balls over the top, as you see there. And here you're going to see a lovely floated pass into the box and a lovely finish. "1-0 to the Gas. But Salisbury are very much in this. Here you see Bristol Rovers get the ball, and now there's a counter-attack. And the move eventually finishes at the edge of the box with the Salisbury number 9. So this was a pretty good first half. So Salisbury scored there, and Bristol Rovers kept attacking, but not before Salisbury had a chance to make it 2-1. Should have scored there. And here's a chance for Bristol Rovers. It's floated into the box and it goes in. I have literally no idea what happened there. Apparently Ben Purrington scored that goal. The Bristol Rovers fans didn't even notice it had gone in until the players started celebrating. Bit of a scrappy one, but it's 2-1 to the Gas. But Salisbury keep attacking. They look very dangerous, especially the number 9 and the number 29, Bartolo. That one's only going to trouble the skydivers behind the stand. It's a good header, but wide. So Salisbury did give as good as they got. It was a very exciting game in the first half. And during the hydration break, I got myself a Coke, which caused a bit of wind, which you're hearing now. And Salisbury got a chance and a goal. I just about caught it on time. That was the number 9 again. And Salisbury had a very good first half. And at half time, yeah, 4 goals, very exciting, really enjoyable. Second half I went to sit over on the other side, so again Salisbury are kicking from left to right. But at this stage of the game, Bristol Rovers basically changed their entire lineup and they really started to dominate. And their counter-attacking play was especially good. Here's an example. Unlucky not to make it 3-2 there. Salisbury defending very stoutly, but they couldn't keep it up. Oh, and the ball falls to me, and it's my turn to keep the momentum going. And I'm completely cack-handed. I missed it completely. Again, another lovely ball. Square across the box. 3-2.
So easy.
Bristol Rovers really did start to dominate from this point on. They looked like scoring more. Salisbury never really got into the Rovers' penalty area. But still, it was a good performance given that Bristol Rovers are 2 divisions higher. The Raymack Stadium is a beautiful place to watch a game of football, so if you're ever in the area, lovely little stadium, holds about 5,000. There's one off the line. Yeah, Bristol Rovers pretty much wave after wave of attacks from now on.
Oh!
Should have scored there. And at this point, Salisbury make 5 substitutes. Coming off are 5 outfield players, and coming on is trialist, 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 and trialist. They made absolutely no difference.
Oh, good save, keeper. Holy shit.
During a break in play, I'm a little bit concerned about this skydiver who's coming in a little bit too quickly. I'm assured by the person next to me who's done more skydives than I've had hot dinners that he's fine. A rare attack for Salisbury.
It was onside, it was in his own half.
Bristol Rovers had so many opportunities to make it 4-2, but they just didn't take any of them. That's it, the final whistle goes, and that was a really entertaining match. Given it was a pre-season friendly, Salisbury look as if they've made a few quite useful signings there. So yeah, very impressive, and I said, lovely little stadium. Give it a go if you're ever in the area. Final score, Salisbury 2, Bristol Rovers 3. A good game and very encouraging for Salisbury, but they lost today. And as the evening falls over Churchill Gardens, I bid you goodbye. Next episode will be Bath City versus Plymouth Argyle. Thank you very much for watching.